So we
Okay.
are recording our Burgess Power Hour tonight is about discovering our intuitive selves and our spiritual gifts that we have and what to do with them. And how do we deal with all of these wonderful gifts that we have and to identify what they are. So that's the plan tonight and today or whatever. And there's Jeffrey joining us. That's good. Jeffrey, you're in
Awesome.
California?
No,
No. Where are you now?
I'm still where I was. I
Um,
live in the I live
Washington.
2 hours north 2 hours north. I live 2 hours north of Seattle.
I always think you're California. I'm sorry.
I
Washington.
I was born there.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad both of you are here. This is awesome. So stay tuned and get ready to, because we're going to find our intuitive gifts and understand what those are with our different clairs and our empathic abilities and what to do about them. So I appreciate both of you being here tonight. Kaya, this is Jeffrey. Jeffrey, Kaya.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, can I say one thing?
Yeah.
Let's have a moment of silence for Jean Houston.
Oh, what happened?
She's in heaven.
Oh, I did not know that.
Jean Houston. She did a lot of spiritual work. I mean, major.
Mm.
She was in Ashland, Oregon, and she left the planet 2 days ago.
Well, she's free.
Yeah, it doesn't, they don't charge nothing for getting out there. Free
I
is
said
good.
she's free. She's free. Not that it doesn't cost anything. Okay. Thank you, Jeffrey. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to play with our spiritual gifts tonight. So we're going to discover um, about our spiritual guidance and maybe identify all of the different gifts that we have and
Hmm.
how to recognize them. And probably you listening out there that have registered for this, you're going to get the recording of this, and those that are here with us now, you get the ability to be able to play with each other and talk to me personally, and we can see what comes up together. Okay, so this is good. So we're going to recognize these pathways of how to connect with spirit and trusting the pathways too. Okay, so I want to begin with that sacred foundation of intuition. What is intuition to you guys? What do you think intuition is?
Listening, being open to hear, uh, the just basically being a receptor, being an antenna, and actually listening, actually
Mhm.
applying it.
Yeah, right. Because you can have intention or you can have your intuition come, but you don't act on it, right?
Right.
Right. Okay. Jeffrey, what's it to you?
It's a tool that is like a road sign, slippery when wet. It tells you how to manage your life and your curves, and I think it's angel dust, power that the intuition is there to say, aha, I better be more careful today than not.
Hmm. Okay. So both of you are saying actively listening is important to be able to feel or listen or connect to
Hmm.
spirit or guides or higher self or whatever you want to call that little voice that comes in. And these voices can come in a lot of different ways for different people. So I agree. It's my feeling about intuition, it's the intuit, right? It's always right. Our intuition is always right.
Mm.
It's just, do we act on our intuition or do we talk ourselves out of it? And how do we know if it's intuition or if it's our mind trying to say things to us that we should or shouldn't do? And so that's a whole nother conversation and experience that we've talked about before in these power hours about what's the difference. But it's
Mm.
also, for
Yeah.
me, it's about the clairs, your soul's inner senses. I call them the
Hmm.
clairs. They're primary ways of having your intuition come with messages. Do you think we get messages?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So some people hear the messages, they hear the guidance, Some see it, some know it, some feel it instantly. So some do all those things. And Jeffrey, I think we tested you in Machu Picchu, didn't we? What kind of clairs you had, or do you remember that?
What kind of, say that word again?
Clairs, like clairsentient, clairsavant, clairvoyant, that kind of thing. The seeing, the
And
inner knowing.
you texted me what you thought I had, or you were asking me what I had, what I could offer.
Well, when we were in Machu Picchu, I think I tested some people on what their
They're in,
abilities are.
they're intuit.
Yeah.
I'm pretty empathic, but I don't act on it all the time, and uh, I don't focus on it as a, part of my restaurant, the what's on my menu, who I am. I just am, you know. When
Okay.
I slow down, I think about my intuit when I slow down more.
Yeah. Well, isn't that always the case? And definitely both of you are empaths, I can tell you now. But okay. So we're going to get into that about how do you identify as that and what do you do with that information and how do you bring in information and messages and how to trust it. So we all have these guides, we all have these gifts of different ways of understanding, and they can be through our physical senses, and some may be naturally dominant. So you might have some more dominant ways of connecting. Okay, so we're going to go there and talk about all the different ways of doing this, and then you can
Mm-hmm.
identify which ones you are. Okay, and
Mm-hmm.
Claire means clear in French, so it
Mm-hmm.
means being,
Oh, wow. That is
it's
really
clear.
cool.
Yeah, clear perception.
Clairvoyant.
Clair means clear. So clear seeing, clear knowing, clear hearing, clear feeling, clear smelling, clear tasting, all of those things. These gifts aren't
Mm.
extra, okay? They're built into our multidimensional system. So what
Yeah.
you're doing now is we're learning how to recognize or remember, strengthen, and trust those perceptions and those gifts that we have, okay? So I'm
Mm-hmm.
just going to go through the different ones and give you examples, and you can kind of identify, is that me? Yeah, that sounds like me. All right. I definitely see or hear or know those things. Okay. So the clairvoyance, what do you think that is? Clairvoyant means to what?
I honestly don't know.
Well, clear means, clairvoyant means seeing,
Oh, it's the seeing one. Okay.
clear seeing one. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So clairvoyance is the ability to receive intuitive information in a visual form.
Mm-hmm.
You might see, for instance, symbols or images in your mind's eye, or you might see colors or lights around people, auras.
Mm.
You may have vivid dreams or visual flashes during a meditation, or energetic patterns. You might see those, or again, auras. And you may be clairvoyant if you think in pictures or have a rich
Mm.
imagination. I know both of you have rich imaginations or are naturally visual. So
Mm-hmm.
many artists and visionaries and designers carry very strong clairvoyance. So let me give you another example. Seeing a color cloud around someone and intuiting their mood. You might be a clairvoyant. Or getting a picture in your mind of a place you've never been, then later
Mm.
seeing it in real life. Has that happened before? You might be clairvoyant. Or receiving some kind of symbol, like maybe a feather or a spiral when asking for guidance.
Mm.
Okay. So those are just some examples, but just try this. Close your eyes and imagine a rose. Can you see it in your mind's eye?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's your clairvoyant channel at work. So you can open up and remember, you can open your eyes. So that's just a way to identify or connect with, because my belief is we all have the abilities to tap into any of this stuff. But like I
Mm-hmm.
said, some things are more dominant in our
Mm-hmm.
field than others. Okay. So I'm
Right.
just giving you an idea of that you're tapping into the clairvoyance when you're seeing it in your mind's eye.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Clairaudient. That's the next one. That means clear hearing. And clairaudience is the ability to hear intuitive messages. So you might hear a voice in your inner ear, not out loud necessarily, but it's clear. Or
Mm-hmm.
you may hear a phrase or a song lyric, or you might hear a name repeating, or messages or answers while in meditation or prayer. You may hear these things while you're in a meditation or prayer. And some other examples might be that hearing the word trust out of nowhere and making a decision.
Mm-hmm.
Or a
I have a
song
question
comes,
about that one.
yeah,
Oh, um, so for me, the way that I receive the messages the most, I mean, it's a combination of like, mm, it's like it almost comes into like my mind as like a thought of like do this, do that, or this or that, but it feels like a pull. So it's a combination between like thinking and feeling. But I don't actually hear like an audio voice, but I guess it's kind of like hearing in a way. I just don't know which one that would be
right.
exactly.
You're probably more clairsentient, which is feeling. But let me just sort of give you a little more discernment about the hearing part of it, okay? Because
Mm-hmm.
you hear things. Is that in my mind? Did I just think of that and I feel it, or did I actually
Mm-hmm.
hear something and it came into my thought process?
I see.
If you're
Yeah, it's
highly
not audio.
right,
Audio.
right. So if you're highly verbal though, and you love music, or you talk to yourself, or you receive divine downloads in the form of words, this may be part of your clairaudience. And you might be clairaudient if you've ever had that thought, I heard something tell me to turn left,
Mm.
and it saved you from traffic or something or danger. But you're right. How do you discern? Did you actually hear the words, or did you just get the thought, or did you just get the feeling?
So would telepathy actually be considered that?
Telepathy.
Meaning
mm,
like it's like let's say something was communicating like with you telepathically, and it's like you like hear it, but it's more like in the form of like you understand it in your mind. It's not like a voice. What was that? What would that be?
it's that to me is more empathetic. You're more of an empath, where you're feeling that other person, or you're feeling that energy, you're feeling it and it's coming into your body. It's more of a body feeling as opposed to
It's in
hearing
my
it.
head. It's in my
Yeah.
head.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it could be feeling. So when we get to the clairsentient part, see if that makes sense to you. It might be that for you. Or a
Hmm.
clairsavant is a knowing. So sometimes it's just a,
Mm. Oh yeah, for sure.
so there's these distinctions that you can play around with it to see, maybe you have a little bit of all of it, but like I said, one's more dominant, or some might be more dominant than others.
Hmm.
um, Another, you might hear a song come on with the exact message you need.
Hmm.
Sometimes that's accessing your clairaudience, or
Hmm.
receiving names, dates, or phrases, maybe during a session with somebody or something when you're
Hmm.
working. Okay, you can access that at any time. Okay, well, that's clairaudient. Now let's get to the fun one, which I think is you, as well as the rest of us, I think, is clairsentient, and that's clear feeling. This is the one of the most common clairs that people, I feel, certainly if you're an empath, you're absolutely clairsentient.
Hmm.
The ability to feel energy and emotions, even those that don't belong to you. And you know that we've worked on that with you before, Kaya. So in other words, you may get chills when something is true. Maybe you feel it, or you feel someone's emotions in your own body.
Hmm.
It activates your own body and you feel their emotions, or you sense tension in a room, maybe without even a word being spoken. Or maybe you have an experience of gut feeling.
Hmm.
That's clairsentient gut feelings, or you might feel pressure or tingling when energy is present. So you're feeling, it's a sensation, either physical or an emotional feeling. And this gift can be a superpower. It really can. And it can also be very draining if you're not grounded. That's why having energetic hygiene is essential. What I mean by that is having boundaries and having understanding how energy moves through the body. And if you're an empath or you're clairsentient, to understand what is yours and what is somebody else's. Because sometimes you can't tell the difference. And just as empaths, which we haven't gotten to yet, but it's kind of hand in hand with clairsentient. It's hard to
Mm-hmm.
be in a room full of people sometimes because it's just too much energy and too many emotions coming at you, right? So you have to learn how to have energetic hygiene, meaning how to keep yourself, have a bubble around you. There's a lot of different ways of doing that, but being aware of it's the first thing.
Mm-hmm.
Make sense?
Yes,
Does that sound like you guys?
for sure.
Hmm.
Okay, I thought so. I
I
have
don't get
one.
drained anymore though. I don't get drained. I haven't.
Good, that's
But
great. Well,
and in my way, oh, you're gonna ask like what do I do to prevent that?
yeah,
Honestly, my the way that I do it is I made a pact with myself. It's like it's more of like a mental pact where like if I cannot help or fix something and not like oh fixing it from like an unhealthy place, but meaning like if I can't actually do something about it, like it's out of my control, I just completely 100% detach, maybe a little too much, but I do that because it's one of those things where like I really care about things, and it's like I haven't really learned to make, and I don't even know if I have to because I feel fine, but like if something is how am I trying to say this? Yeah, I just detach from it, probably too much even because it's like how do you I'm like talking in circles now. I got the thought and then I forgot what I was gonna say, but yeah, I just I
same kind
won't.
of.
Does it make sense?
That's how your protective, um, your antenna goes up and you're protecting yourself in a way so that you don't get overloaded, right? And so you call it being detached, but what you're doing is you're setting a boundary, an energetic boundary, so that nothing can come inside of you that can affect you in any way, and it can feel detached for sure, but it can be just a protective mode that you
For
have,
sure.
have the ability to do that, and you've practiced that a lot, and you've had reasons probably to
Mhm.
to protect yourself in energetic ways and emotional ways and all of those things. And so it's just been it's something that's very natural for you to do.
Yeah, well, part of me for a while, I don't really feel this way anymore, but I was like, damn, am I a bad person? Because like, for example, like I don't watch the news, but like I know that there's like wars going on and stuff, and people are like really wrapped up in it. And it's like, of course I wish everyone the best, but it's like if my ass is not gonna fly my ass over there and try to help, I'm
Yeah.
not getting involved like emotionally. I'm not gonna give my like any like emotional anything. Like I mean, I'll pray for people or send them love, but like the idea from in my mind of actually getting emotionally wrapped up in something that you absolutely cannot change is 100% a waste of time. Like, you know what I mean? All it is suffering. And that doesn't mean to necessarily negate or dismiss other suffering.
So
But you know,
So here's the thing I do know about all of us who are in, um, I don't want to say just new age, but people that are conscious beings and that are very
hmm
aware. How do you stay connected to the world and not absorb everything that's going on in a way, and also make a difference at the same time? So
hmm
one of the things that I always share is observe, don't absorb. So you can observe
hmm
what's going on in the world, but you don't have to absorb it to cure it or to heal it or to fix it.
hmm
You have to absorb it and take it on yourself, because that certainly doesn't help matters for you or anyone else. But the one thing you can do is, like you said, you can vibrate love. You can vibrate peace. You can connect to your own inner guidance and your own connection and send that out. Because as you know, we're vibrational beings. And so we do have a way to, quote, connect, and we do have a way to make a difference. We may not see it, we may not understand it, but I can guarantee you that it is making a difference, because in my world, love and that vibration is a healing for ever. It's for every energy, every being that comes in contact with that vibration.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, yeah, I don't have to absorb all the stuff that's going on in the world to understand that's going on. I don't have to absorb it and take it away from people. But what I can do is I can hold up a mirror and actually vibrate what I choose to feel and what I choose
Mm-hmm.
to other people. You have
Right.
a glow of sun behind you. Do you see
Yeah. It's that beautiful golden hour, the
I
golden
love
power hour.
that? So yes, so these are great. These are great awarenesses to have. But again, what I would say is observe, not absorb.
Got it. So you don't think like I'm a bad person because I don't feel emotional like pulls and I'm not like bawling my eyes out about what's happening in the
No,
world.
it does not. It does not help or support, let's say, what's going on in the world by you taking it all on, because all
Right.
that does is transfers energy from there to you.
Mm-hmm.
What it does support is for you to vibrate what you want to feel and what you'd like to send out to
Mm-hmm.
others to feel,
Yeah.
and to hold that vision. So
Mm-hmm.
for me, I'm absolutely involved and energetic and engaged in what's happening in the world, and I can be aware of what's happening with other people, but I'm not going to allow it to absorb into my energetic space and
Mm-hmm.
to feel emotional necessarily around that. So much so that I'm not able to feel anything else, because that doesn't, in my world, doesn't really
Mm-hmm.
affect the kind of an impact I'd like to have. Does that make
Right.
sense?
Absolutely.
Okay. So let's go to Claire Savant. A clairsavant is clear knowing. That's your gift. You have a knowing. And I know you guys feel this, and I know you have these things. Some people call it claircognizance. I call it clairsavant. It's just the ability to just know without knowing how. You just
Mm-hmm.
know it. And it comes in sudden downloads, or your gut instinct, or truth bombs come in that land out of nowhere. And
Mm.
it's logical, but it's accurate. So maybe it shows up with you if you finish someone's sentence without even trying. Or maybe you have intuitive certainty about a choice or a person. Maybe you get divine downloads when journaling or even in the shower. You just get a download and you're like, where'd that come from? Or you say things to people where you say exactly the right thing that they wanted or needed to hear at that moment. And that makes total sense. And you're like, where did that come from? That just came out of my mouth and it was perfect.
Do you call that the knowing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. That's Claire Savant. That's a knowing. It just
Claire
comes.
Savant.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And
That's the one that I had that I was trying to explain. I was like, it's not a sound, but it's not like but it seems like it's in my head. It just like boom, it just drops in.
it drops in
Yeah.
exactly. And
Right.
this is
Okay.
subtle and it's easy to doubt. Okay. Because it bypasses logic, but it's often lightning fast. It's confident and it's clear.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm.
For
Hmm.
instance, I'll give you an example. Uh, Maybe you download an idea that's fully formed and you're like, I got it. It's sort of like you just got a huge download all at once, and now you know. Where'd that come from? Or knowing not to trust someone without any clear reason. You don't know why, but all of a sudden you don't trust them for no reason. You just have no reason, but you know to watch out. Same thing with the opposite of that is you know a person, you meet them and you're like, oh, I can totally trust this person.
Mm.
So is this a refresher of all these um Claire dash blah blah blah, Claire audio, clairvoyance, Claire this and that. Is this a refresher to remind us, or are you sharing with us, or are we having a conversation about them, about which one do we resonate with most, or are we learning how to empower each one more, or all the above?
All the above.
Okay. I knew that was gonna go.
All the above. So I'm give a list of things that I know to be true for me and that what I've experienced and what I know that people have these abilities. And so, like I said at the beginning, we're going to go through all the different ones, and I want you identifying, yeah, that's me. Yeah, that's me. Yeah, I do that. Yeah, that, and now I know how I can do that. And how can this impact my life? What do I do with it? Okay. And I'm trying to give you examples of how it can show up in your life. And I'm going to give you tools at the end of this also that you can access these things at any time, whenever you
Mm.
want. So, okay.
You
So,
mean you mean
as a tool.
as if we understand these deeper and we talk about them as we are today, then they become more in our frontal lobe and our consciousness of knowing what they are and that we're using them. There's no proper or improper way to use them, but that we've identified them, we've talked about them, so now we can just get in our flow again, our groove, and empower them more even, or give them more attention or something like that. I mean,
Trust them, Jeffrey, is the biggest
trust, trust. Okay.
thing about it is you might be totally aware of all of these and you may not be, but once you're aware of all of these different ways of tapping in and how it comes in to your messages come in, how to trust it, and then how can I claim these gifts and work with them, and what do I do with it?
So, for example, I had a mentorship yesterday and I didn't know it was a mentorship. Somebody called me from the sweat lodge and who runs it and says, I need you to come before you take another sweat lodge with us. And I thought he was going to scold me, and he wasn't. He was in a different state of mind, and he wanted to hang out with me and see that we were equal souls. He honored me actually and said, it's fucking cool to have you here, Jeffrey, and to go through this thing. And we had a picture of Amma on the altar there, and we were in his room, and the crystals were there, and it was here, and it was just a complete thing. But that whole couple hours before I went over there, I wasn't trusting my clair audio or my clairvoyance. I wasn't trusting not to worry, just to be and to use those tools that we're speaking of today, which is very helpful for me to realize. And when I got back in the car, I was very pleased and relieved at the same time, and grateful.
Yeah, yeah. And again, it's not to doubt. How to trust that and not doubt it and go into the other end of it, like you started to like I'm getting scolded. I don't. So again, trusting why
And
you're
I
where
did, and I didn't, and we were, and there was protocol that he wanted me. He claimed that I was a toozy or something. He had this word that is not the court gesture. He says when you walk into the room, everybody listens. He says you are that type of person, and it's not the court gesture, it's not the this, it's not the that, but in shaman, higher, whatever. He says that's the word that he gave me, and I'll find that word again and share that with you. But he said, um, just like today, we're anointing or making it clearer or talking about all the clairs, and I like that. And so, that he honored me was very important to me because I walk around thinking that that sometimes I'm too much, and which is okay. And so I told him, I said, my sister said, read the room. And he loved that. He never had that. So now I gave that to him to share. He's been doing, what you're doing for 25, 30 years, and it was very beautiful.
That's awesome. That's awesome, honey. No, that's great. And these are great um, examples that you can utilize in your everyday ability, and how to identify them, and how to trust it, and how to have it. How does it impact me? And
I
to
call
listen.
them I call them confirmations and validations.
Exactly, exactly. So I'm here to validate you, both of you, and me.
Yay,
Yeah,
Burge.
because we need that sometimes, right? So let me finish real quick the other clairs, and then we'll go into the empath and the different channels that you can identify who you are. Okay. The clair tangency is clear touch. Now, this gift allows you to receive intuitive information through physical touch. So it's often activated when, let's say, you're holding an object with some emotional or historical energy, and you can actually feel the activation of it. Or maybe you're touching sacred spaces, your crystals, or photos, or heirlooms, or maybe you're doing body work or healing and receiving intuitive hits. So this clair is especially good for body workers. It's really active for people who work on the body, Reiki practitioners, those who connect deeply with touch. Okay, so some more examples would be if you're holding a photo sometime or an item and you sense something in it, there's something emotional. You get emotional when you touch it. Or maybe you touch somebody's shoulder and you get an intuitive hit about their inner state. That's accessing your clair tangency. Okay, or maybe you feel vibrations through crystals and other sacred objects. Maybe you feel that. That's activating your clairtangency. Okay. Two more is clairalience and clairgustance. And clairalience is smelling, and clairgustance is tasting. It's the ability to smell or taste intuitively. Okay. And this is kind of like and like I said, everybody can access this. It's kind of fun to play with it this way. It's less common, but it's a beautiful expression of spirit. So clairalience means maybe you smell a specific perfume sometime, or a flower, and you know a loved one is near. Smelling roses usually means there's angels there. So you don't see any roses around, but you smell them. And that can actually mean that you're smelling the angels. Basically, they can actually, you can smell them if you access that part of your, yeah, it's kind of cool. Maybe you taste chocolate or a wine during a vision. You're tasting something that's in your mouth. You're like, where'd that come from? Or again, smelling a familiar scent, like maybe your grandpa, smoked a pipe or something, and you smell something when a loved one is near that's connecting with you. And that's an ability that people can access and have come to you. So that's a gift. And they show up usually around ancestral energy and mediumship. So if you're working with the ancestors a lot, and maybe you're medium, working with a medium, or you are a medium, that means that you're connecting to fourth dimension. Oftentimes you'll smell things or you'll taste things. Okay. So these are small. Trust the small signs that you get, track the patterns, and let's be playful about it. So let's go on to the empath, which both of you are, I feel pretty certain. That's the sacred feeler. You intuitively absorb other people's emotions, energies, or even physical sensations. Okay. It's a blueprint that you have. And this is the way that your soul expresses and transmits intuitive energy. Not just how you receive it, but how it wants to move through you. So if you're an empath, empaths are emotional, energetic sponges and highly attuned to the inner worlds of others. So many empaths don't know that they're an empath. and they try to shut down. What happens is, again, sometimes you shut down your emotions because they're so overwhelming at times. Or oftentimes, when, like I said, when you go into a crowded room, it's just too much. I can't deal with crowds, or I don't know how to deal with all these emotions, or accessing going into the collective consciousness of the happening that's the war and the world and all the death and destruction and all of that. It's just too much. Okay? Because you feel it and you absorb it. And so, again, the key thing here for you to remember is observe, not absorb. Empaths are here to transmute other people's pain. And you need to understand the difference between other people's emotions and your own. So if you're an empath, you might feel someone else's grief as your own. Or, like I said, you get overwhelmed in a lot of people around. It can be overwhelming. Or maybe you have a deep connection to animals or nature. Okay, that's empathic. And this sensitivity is not a weakness. It is a superpower. It really is. With grounding and boundaries and learning how to, if you're a healer or a space holder and you're an intuitive mirror for others, it's a natural ability to have. Okay, walking into a room and instantly sensing what's going on in the room. As like you said, Jeffrey, read the room. Okay. Another example is absorbing anxiety. You can absorb people's anxiety and it turns out to be somebody else's. You're like, why am I so anxious? Or again, for some of you, feeling drained about, after being around people for too long, you get drained because you're absorbing what they're going through. Now, you guys know what I do. You both, actually, Jeffrey hasn't done Essence of Being, but he has seen me in action with some things. But if you can imagine, I've been doing this for 45 years. Can you imagine if I absorbed everything that I help people release emotionally and energetically? I mean, I'd be a blob on the floor. I would just be a blob. I wouldn't be able to function.
I'm
So
getting a visual of that. I'm using my whatever clair you call it.
Yes, you're using your clairvoyancy. Yes, you're a
Oh my
blob of
gosh.
blob. So it's very important if you have that ability, which I believe both of you do. Okay, and if you want to access it more, to really understand, it's really important to have good boundaries, energetic and emotional boundaries, and to understand what's yours and what's somebody else's. And I want to give you a tool to do that at the end here, okay? So that you can use the tool to discern. Is that mine or is that somebody else's? Okay.
What? Oh, yeah.
The emotion that you're feeling, because again, empaths have come here to help transmute people's emotions, their pain, their what some people call negative emotions, but they're here to do that. You don't have to, but that's one of your superpowers, is to be able to do that without it affecting you. That's the key. If it starts affecting you, then you know that you're absorbing it and you're not letting it bounce off of you. Okay. Does that make sense to you guys as an empath?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
All right. All right. A channel writer is another one. That's another way that you can get messages. Do you ever journal and read it back?
Yes.
Where did that come from? That sounded really good. I don't know where that came from. I'm just journaling, and all of a sudden you get a message, and you write it down. It's like it's basically channeling messages through the written word. Sometimes it's in your own voice, and sometimes it's in a voice that may feel wiser or clearer and not entirely your own. You might receive maybe a poem or a prayer or a letter from beyond. And have you ever had your words that flow faster than your conscious mind can even form them? Has that ever happened to you?
Yes, during my awakening, when I was uh basically like the natural DMT that I had, I was like talking and I was like skipping words, but I was receiving downloads like constant, like it was just like all of the information in the universe basically. And my verbal sentences weren't full.
Yeah, can't get it out fast enough. So that could be
Hmm.
your accessing the channel writer. You're an actual channel writer. Some people actually do this for fun, where they download information and they connect to spirit. And when they do that, they just start writing and they don't even know what they're writing. And sometimes it's light language, sometimes it's symbols, sometimes it's words that you can understand or not. And that is accessing from beyond. That is a gift that you can play with and see if you want to do more of that. So you might want to ask while you're journaling. Maybe ask a question when you're journaling and receive a clear answer and you write it down.
Hmm.
So that is called a channel writer. Now, a conscious channel, I believe that we're all conscious channels. We're conscious, we're in our bodies, we get information. So again, let me see if there's anything else I want to say. Yeah. As a conscious channel, that we stay present, we know that we're here and we're aware, while at the same time, we're allowing higher wisdom to move through us in real time.
Hmm.
That's sort of like what you do, Jeffrey, when you're walking around with people and you're meeting them and you're taking their pictures and that's how you found those shaman people that we met in Machu Picchu. And that's kind of what you do as well. When you're a conscious channel, I mean, uh, speaking spontaneous, your truth or truth, like for instance, your conversations, you really know, you feel guided to say something.
Hmm. And I
Yeah.
listen to it. I always listen to it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make sense a lot of times. And I think that's what people might miss is like you might think like this one little thing. A lot of times the messages seem very insignificant, like something as crazy as like pick up that piece of trash on the ground. But you don't know the butterfly effect. Like I don't think people like take a step back to look at the butterfly effect of how everything affects things. So I think like the more you listen to those almost like ridiculous sounding things, you know, it's almost like it's building like a trust system with you. It's like, can you be trusted with these things? So if people say, I don't have an intuition because they don't even listen to messages when someone's talking to them in their face, let alone picking up a piece of trash.
Exactly. And may I just say, the more that you let go of the judgment of it being ridiculous or insignificant, the more
Hmm.
that you let go of judgment of that and you and your abilities and you too, Jeffrey, letting go of any of that, it allows more of it to come in and because you do trust it. When you just say it, you blurt it out loud, you know,
Yeah.
so if you're sharing insights with people, you're teaching, you're facilitating without planning ahead. You're just, you know what to say. It's a conscious channel. You're a conduit, and the spirit flows through your words when you're grounded, open, and clear.
Hmm. Absolutely. Yeah.
I feel like we're all conscious channels. So again, feeling led to say something you didn't expect to say, and it's exactly what was needed, or speaking to a group and feeling the energy move through your voice, you know exactly how to do that. Okay.
Yeah.
That's conscious channeling.
Hmm.
Okay.
For the record, I don't think that that stuff's ridiculous. I'm speaking to those who might be listening to this because it can, at first, these messages can sound really out there and so nonsensical. Like
Yeah,
you wouldn't even think that one thing's connected to the other.
exactly. It's not logical.
Not at all. Not at all.
And the last one I'm going to speak to is trans channeling. Trans channeling is something that I do, shamanasta, when I
Mhm.
trans channel like Abraham, or there's a lot of people that do trans channeling. And basically, what it is it's a deeper surrender. All it is that you allow your awareness to step back, and another voice or presence or consciousness can come forward. And maybe you speak in tones or languages or energies you don't consciously control. You can enter an altered state. You go into a trance during channeling. Maybe you feel your facial expressions, posture, or voice change or shift. A different frequency comes in. And that's trans channeling. And my belief is any of us can learn how to do that. I didn't wake up every morning and say I want to trans channel today. That was not it. It totally came out of the blue. I mean, during a whole series of things that events that happened in my life, but it wasn't something that I intended to happen. Because teaching these workshops and doing what I do in the world, consciously channeling all the time for sure. But I'd never left my body and said, okay, guys, come on in, come on in and speak through me. That was not something that I had planned to do. But long story short, I feel like a lot of us have that ability to be able to do that. And it's just learning how. It's just learning how to trust. And again, it's the same gift that every one of us has. And all of these gifts I'm trying to share with you tonight is that you have to trust it. And that's the key, is trusting whatever gift or ability you have and go with it. There's no better or more spiritual way to receive and transmit guidance. Your intuitive design is as unique as your fingerprint. So this part of the journey is about discovering your way and giving yourself permission to honor it fully. So these questions that I have for you is just something to reflect on. And then I'm going to give you some tools. Okay. So maybe you can identify and say, yeah, which of these gifts or clairs feel most natural to you right now?
Are you asking us, or is that more like something we'll ask later?
Just go ahead and say, what do you think is which one feels most natural to you right now?
Definitely the clear savant, without a doubt. Absolutely. That's like my main
Okay.
um funny story about the smell or the tasting one is this is the only time this ever happened, but there's a sauce that I really like. It's on my favorite sandwich. And I was like, damn, I wish I could make this sauce. Boom. The entire recipe came to me the exact amounts in like a split second. I made it. It was perfect.
Wow.
I freaking got their recipe.
Hey, that's so awesome. Ding, ding, ding.
It was hilarious. Oh
How
my
about you,
God.
Jeff?
I I don't have one that stands out. They all seem like flow, like I access them when I need them.
Okay.
Mhm.
But I want to learn more about clairsentience. I want to tune more into my feelings. I had an empathy practice group for 4 years on Zoom every Wednesday, and they all like went crazy when I finally gave my emotional state because they say you're a great storyteller. Now, what are you really feeling? You know, what are
Right.
you really feeling, Jeffrey? And so I'm trying to get there and to be more in that um, in that presence. I think the Claire stuff is more mediumship, and tools of insight of things that everybody has. And by, like I said earlier tonight, by us talking about these things, it allows me, because I'll only speak for me, but it also allows the room or the universe to just acknowledge that they exist, that they're part of us, and it's okay to to have them help us through our journey. I dealt with two suicides this year, and in the people that knew my name, and they didn't come to me to do plant medicine or to go on a journey or say, "Do you love me, Jeffrey? I'm out of here." So it's just very interesting being incarnated, not at this time, at any time. I mean, look at mythology, look at all of it, of all the time that we've had as humans from the first erect soul walking the beach. So I appreciate every moment, including yesterday's moment and today's moment, to have a tune up and to get stronger with my clairvoyance, clairaudience. I mean, I put what I thought, was resonating with me. So it's cool. I appreciate this moment.
Okay, so good. So the question that you can ask yourself later, you guys, and in any time, is just to say, is there a gift I've been afraid to trust or fully claim? You don't have to answer now, but just ask yourself, is there a gift here that I've been afraid to trust or fully claim, and why?
Mm.
Give yourself permission to lean into these because they are gifts. They're not burdens. And you may have had experiences before where people may have told you to shut it down. Okay. And when you were little, uh, children have these gifts naturally. And perhaps throughout their lives, they've been told to shut it down. And perhaps they've gotten scared for something. So just kind of meditate on that. Is there a gift I've been afraid to trust or fully claim, and why? And if my intuition had a voice or a message for me right now, what would it say? Those are two really good things to kind of meditate on, or ask yourself around this. And I'm going to give you a couple of tools that you can use now. Okay. So when you ask yourself those questions, one of the tools that I say is here's just an affirmation you can say. Today, I choose to receive clarity, peace, and divine guidance. Today, I choose to receive clarity, peace, and divine guidance. That's a great affirmation for intention setting on choosing to receive these gifts. That's a good way to start. Okay. I'll say it again. Today, I choose to receive clarity, peace, and divine guidance. And when you start that way, then you can allow whatever messages you get to come through and however they want to come through. And then another one is to put your hand on your heart and to close your eyes. And you can put it on your heart or your belly or both. And you ask silently, how am I feeling right now? And you take a deep breath. How am I feeling right now? And just trust whatever comes to you. The first thing. That's one way to access your feelings, Jeffrey. Listen without judgment and just notice what's present. That's a really great way, a good tool, okay, to use. And the other thing to use is if you're feeling off, maybe the rest of this week, or maybe you feel scattered or overwhelmed or whatever it is, if you're feeling off, scattered, or overwhelmed, ask this question: is this mine? Is this mine? And if the answer is no, I want you to visualize yourself brushing off the energy off of your body and releasing it back into Mother Earth. You just energetically, you can do it, or you can physically do it. Just brushing off the energy all around you and throwing it down into Mother Earth. She's the great recycler. She can recycle that. And the last piece of tool that I'll give you, if you're ever feeling this way, overwhelmed, scattered, afraid, feeling just off, you're not sure if it's yours or not, like, why do I feel this way? Or what's going on with me? This is something I do all the time, is I tap here on my solar clavicle. What is this part called? Right on your chest. And you also tap below, right above your belly button. So you do both. You tap right here on your chest, and then right
Solar
above.
plex.
Yeah. You tap both places, here and above your belly button. Above your belly button as well. And you say these words: And that you're going to get this recording, so you don't have to write it down if you don't want to. So you can go back and listen to it. But you say any energy. So go ahead and repeat it. Let's do it for the hell of it. Okay. Any energy
any energy
that is not mine,
that is not mine,
leave my body now.
leave my body now.
I send you to the divine light now.
I send you to the divine light now.
I am the master of my domain.
I'm the master of my domain.
Now, tap, tap, tap. Take a deep breath. And you just blow it down. Now, you should feel a difference. If you're ever feeling gunked up, is the best way to describe it, maybe full, that'll make you feel lighter. It releases any energy that is not yours that you've absorbed during the day. And it works every time. So you tap, you say those words, you take a deep breath, and you cool.
Very.
All right. So I appreciate you guys so much. And if you want to learn more, those of you listening and those of you who joined us, you can go to essenceofbeing.com/sacred channeling. essenceofbeing.com/sacred channeling. And what that will do, it will give you an online tool that you can use. It's 8 modules where you can work through it on your own pace. Okay. It's only like 177, I think. It's 8 modules. So you can work at your own pace, and it has videos and play sheets and audios and all the stuff in there for you to really practice this stuff if you really want to dive further into your gifts and activate your spiritual gifts in a way that makes sense, but you can do it. It's essenceofbeing.com/sacred channeling.
Sounds good. I do have a couple questions. Do you have a few minutes?
Yeah, a few. Yeah.
Okay, I'll go through them super quickly. So the first one is I don't shut down my gifts, and I do keep them to myself, and I do develop them. But how do I let go of the fear of others knowing that I have them? Like at scale, not like personal, but more like it's like a global thing. Because there are people that are known globally, and they're fine.
The question I would ask yourself is, what am I afraid of being seen? Why am I afraid to be seen and to be seen for who I really am?
Okay.
And I bet that has something to do with past lives and also perhaps judgment.
Yeah, it's really more of just like the burden of being misunderstood. It's one of those things, like if I'm already that, like why would I add on more?
Right.
It's like why would I take on more of that,
You don't have to, honey. And the thing about that is, it's not why do I have to take on more? The question you might want to ask yourself is, I get it, I do, it again, if you've had past life situation, if you believe in that kind of stuff, where you've been, abused and misunderstood and judged and killed even for,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, why
Yeah.
would you want to share those with anybody nowadays, right? So there can be judgment that comes up around that. And so my suggestion is just to say it's safe for me to be seen. It's safe for me to be seen with
Okay.
all
Absolutely.
my gifts.
Okay, I will definitely do that. And my other question was, I mean, there's a couple people I follow on Instagram. They seem pretty legit and they have like master classes or whatever and communities. But do you recommend, or maybe this stuff? I'm really interested in going super deep with like telekinesis, weather bending, pyrokinesis, kind of like the Dynamo Jack. Who would I learn from?
Yeah. Well, I mean, some of the things that we go into is a little bit of telekinesis in the
Like I
in
want to
the
be like a master of that stuff, like freaking like Bruce Lee of that shit. You know what I'm saying?
okay, but let me just say, if that's what your intention is, the first thing
Hmm.
you're going to have to deal with is being seen doing that, honey. so that it's not a fear that comes up about being seen doing that or judged or misunderstood doing that. That has to be your inner work first. But as far as who
Okay.
to, like I said, I got a little bit of telekinesis in the online course I just told you about, that kind of walks you through some of that. But I don't know anybody necessarily that's a master of just telekinesis. I mean, I don't know anybody personally.
Like all the nieces, the kinesis is, you know.
Yeah.
No worries. And then the two other, I appreciate that, by the way. And then the two other questions would be like how to stop being a magnet for other people projecting. Obviously, I realize that like people always project, but it's one of those things where it's like, you know, I would like to be the kind of there. I believe that there are people out there who aren't the kind of people that bring that out of others to be projected on. I'm not saying that they don't have a moment, but it's not like their dominant blueprint or way of being. What would be the personality or the mindset shift of someone who is not the kind of person that is projected on, even if they're like in their gifts or like doing big things, you know what I mean? Um,
Absorb versus observe. And I'll tell you why I say that again. If you
mhm,
if you are concerned or see that people are projecting on you and that affects you, that's your work, not theirs. There will always be people that project onto other people. And knowing that is great. If you don't absorb it and you don't take it on and you don't receive it, then it gets pretty boring playing catch with one person. So, in other words, people are throwing something,
mm,
and if you don't catch it, they'll go away.
don't catch it.
Don't catch it. It's not yours.
Okay.
That's what I mean by absorb.
I see. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And then the final question is, I don't know if I shared this with you before, but I've had this breathing issue for a really long time, and it drives me fucking nuts because I feel like I can't get to the bottom of what is causing it, and I feel like it could be so many things. It could be an emotional thing. It could be the this thing. It could be the that. Like, do you know whether it's you or someone you recommend? Where, how do I find the root cause of this thing?
Of the breathing, yeah.
Yeah, and people could say, "Oh, go in and your own." Listen,
Now,
I
may I suggest
I
that
cannot figure it out.
I'm a breath worker, right? And I certify people on how to do breath work, but breathing is an energy within it's a part of our healing process and it's an automatic thing. So
Yeah.
suggest maybe what you do is offline. Just contact me and
Okay.
let's talk through that and we can do breath together. Okay. And actually see where that comes from or why it's there and shift that. Some people are
Okay.
afraid fully,
Some people are what?
afraid to breathe fully.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because just say breath is life force. Okay.
Yeah.
So your
Yeah.
breath is your life force, it is your aliveness.
Oh
So
man.
again, I think all hand in hand with that fear of being seen and big and playing to your fullest capacity. And that may
Okay.
affect, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for
Contact,
taking the time.
yeah, sure. Just contact me, Burge at essenceofbeing.com. You got me.
Okay.
And we can talk through
Okay.
that. I appreciate you being here, Jeffrey and Kaya. Thank you for playing with us tonight. And those of you who are getting this recording, I will see you next time. It's always the third Wednesday of every month for Burgess Power Hour. And you guys will get this recording. Okay. So go back and listen.
You.
All right. Take
Blessings,
Thank you so much.
blessings. Thanks. Nice to see you, Burge.
care. You too, honey.
Thank you.
Nice to